Hello and thank you for joining me. I'm Roxanna from Hannah's Room and today I'm going to be making some bunting. Nice and simple. All you need is some triangles. You can get templates for these or you can just cut them using your ruler and cutting mat. I've used equilateral triangles and I'm going to put them face to face together and then I'm going to sew down two sides of these triangles using a 1/4 inch seam and stopping from the end 1/4 inch away from the end. So if I pop that underneath, let's get my foot. Okay, you don't have to have a 1/4 inch foot, you can just use a bit of tape to mark that out. If you don't own a 1/4 inch foot, that's absolutely fine. Okay, just nice and slowly sewing down to the point. Stopping about 1/4 inch away from the bottom, then with my needle still down, I'm going to lift my foot and pivot the fabric around, then I won't lose any stitches. Now sew down the other side. All the way to the edge, and then I'm going to cut the thread. Then once you've done that, what you need to do is cut away any excess that's down in this point here. So where we've got to the end, if we just trim off the excess fabric, like that, and we're going to go diagonal at the sides also. Then we can turn this fabric through, and this will give us one of our bunting flags. Now you can use a pencil to poke the ends out to get that nice and flush. Or you can just use your finger and keep on rolling the seams until it does get to that point down there. Then once you've turned it through and you're happy with where it is, I'm just going to use the bottom of my scissors there to get that point out. If you give it a press with an iron, just makes it nice and flat. So I'll take this to the ironing board now and give it a press with the iron. Then we're going to do another flag in exactly the same way. So two triangles. You'll notice that the sides of these are both the same. It's because it's petite fabric, so you haven't got to worry about the right or wrong sides of the fabric because 99% of the time you can't tell. If you're working with a printed cotton, you want to put the printed sides, right sides together. You can pin them in place if you're at all worried about them moving, and then we're just going to sew down the two sides again like that. These are great for birthday celebrations, or even if you want to do a seasonal one, maybe you want to do a Christmas design, some Christmas colours, Halloween, you could add a bit of applique. All the way down, stop about 1/4 inch away, pivot, back down the other side. You can chain piece these as well, you don't have to stop in between each one, you can just carry on sewing until you've got a long line of them. So I'm just going to snip away the excess fabric there, taking out the bulk so that they'll turn through nicely. There and there. Then turn it through on itself. Again, if you've got a nice pencil, you can poke the end out to get a really nice point on your flag. This sometimes looks nice as well. If you're using a couple of different colours, you can alternate the colours in between the two. I'm just going to use the end of the scissors to push that through. Be nice and careful. If you're using scissors, do be careful that you don't catch your stitches. Just try and ease them through. Then once you're at that point again, give that another press. We'll do another one and then I'll show you how to join them. Obviously you can do as many or as little as you like, depending on the area that you want to fill. If I give it that press with the iron. There we go. You could even use one colour on the front and another colour on the back. If it's going to be hanging somewhere where people will see the two sides of it, you can always use two colours on one flag. Or if it's just going against a wall and you want to save on expense, you can pink and shade the triangles and then they won't fray, but they'll come together nice and quickly as well. So if I do another triangle, another flag, and then I'll show you how to put, you can use fabric strips to create the bias tape to join them all together at the top. This is a great project to do with children as well because it's nice and simple. You can get the kids involved. You can choose their own fabrics maybe even do some drawing on them first, put some smiley faces on them. All the way down to the edge. There we go, take out the bulk there. And then turn that flag through. If you want to put them outside, you can also use oilcloth for this. That way it'll last a little bit longer if it's outside in the weathers. Here we go, give that one a press. And there you go, we've got 3 flags so far. Now you can trim those down to whatever size you want them to be. And then I have used another strip of fabric. This is just a 2.5-inch strip of fabric here that is then folded in on itself. So the raw edges are on the inside. So I folded one side in and I folded the other side in, and then I've pressed it over so that all the raw edges are in the centre. And then what you can do is you get one of your flags, and it's got little dog ears, which are these bits here. These are called dog ears, and if we just snip these off, you can see that your raw edges are along this side here. So you want to put the raw edges inside this strip. Now if you move it along a little bit further, what you can then do is fold this over on itself to make a little loop so that when you come to hang it, you've got a little hook there to hang. But for now what we'll do is we'll pop this inside and we'll just start the stitches just off the edge here, and we'll go all the way down. So we'll pop this under the machine. Now you don't need a 1/4 inch seam on this. What you want to do is you want to get quite close to the line of the flag there to hold it into place. So I'm going to take the 1/4 inch off and just use a central position needle, and I'm going to take my stitch length down to about 1.8. I'm going to lift this up and I'm going to put this underneath the needle here. Okay, so once you start sewing along here, this is going to hold that flag in, and I'm going to do a reverse stitch just to hold the stitches so they don't come undone. You could use a nice variegated thread if you want to get a nice bit of colour in the top of this band. I've just gone for black just so you can see where I'm stitching. So as you come to the end of that flag, that's now caught in this band, so it's not going to go anywhere. You want to measure where you want your next flag to be. So trim the dog ears off again. There and there. It's a nice flag. Measure where you want it to be. I would say anywhere between 1 inch and 2 inches apart, depending on how many you want. Obviously, if you're covering a large space, you might want to extend that gap a little bit longer so you don't have to make quite so many flags. Once it's in place, trapped in there, we're just going to sew along. Keeping it nice and steady. Once you've got to the end of that flag, you're going to add in the 3rd one that I've made. Just trimming off those dog ears again. There we go. And then we'll place that one inside the band as we have done before. It's so simple to do. The kids will love doing it, picking out the colour coordination as well. It's a nice fun family project. Okay. And then keep on sewing. Making sure those raw edges are turned in on themselves, nothing's moving. If you're at all worried about moving, you can pin into place. And once we get to the end, I'm going to create another handle by just trimming this down. Obviously this is quite a short bit of bunting, but you can add as many as you like. You can keep on adding these 2.5 inch strips together to make a longer length for your bunting to go in, or you can make shorter sections and just hang them around the room. So I'm going to fold this in on itself to make a hoop. Use a locking stitch, so just make your stitches go backwards, that's a locking stitch. And then cut that off. And if we hold that up in front of you, you can see how you can make very simple, quick bunting. It doesn't take any time at all, and like I say, all the family can get involved in that. So I hope you've enjoyed this demonstration. My name's Roxana, and thank you for joining us.